I fully believe in leaving spirit in charge. And I just got a directive that I followed. Always will. Holy shift! Say that with me, it feels so good. Holy shift! Now for those of you with hearing aids, there was an F in there. We're talking about the holiest of shifts that are happening for all of us. The last 2 years has been a tremendous journey for us all, has it not? So many holy shifts. In 2012, when I turned 50, I had reached the pinnacle of my perfect health. I was at the perfect weight, I was my best fitness, and I was in love with my body for the first time. What I learned was how conditional that was. Because 6 months later, I was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. And all of that perfection got cut open over and over again, and I got to embrace every single piece. When I was first diagnosed, this time 2 years ago, of course with the momentary freak out that most of us would have hearing the words cancer, the big C and all that stuff, I went down the rabbit hole for maybe an hour or so. But then I remembered my Unity teachings, took a deep breath, and went within and asked, what do I do with this? And I heard, do it differently. I didn't have a clue what that really meant yet. And then I asked why? Why now? I felt like I was at the peak of my career. Things were just taking off. I had been on the road doing this work of mine, this wonderful healing work with the human voice, for 12 and a half years. I felt like I was really making headway. Why now? And I heard, you have graduated. Congratulations. Holy shift. What I then heard was, you have the opportunity to use absolutely every single one of your spiritual gifts to get through this. And you will. And that voice wasn't kidding. But when I asked, how do I do cancer? I had no frame of reference. What I learned was by doing it differently, I was able to create new neurotransmitters. The brain had never gone through cancer before. I got to create how it was going to look as I went through it on purpose. And by knowing that I was going to get to use all of my gifts, Sweet Spirit, show me how, was my chant almost every single minute. Show me how to do this. I learned that I was to have fun with cancer. How in the heck do you have fun with cancer? Well, I learned the first thing I was directed to do was to go public. I started Facebooking my process every single day. A lot of you have been following me. Thank you. I feel your love consistently. It has helped me heal. You need to know how strong that bond is. With that publicizing everything, I learned so quickly how I'm not alone. And that big by self that I had grown up with, believing I had to do it all by myself, came crashing down around my ears. Thank you, God. We are never alone anymore. We don't have to go through any of this by ourselves. But this was another of my opportunities to reach out to community and ask for, and consequently receive, help at such a deep level that I never knew I was able to go to before, let alone receive at that level. So in order to have fun with it, one of the things I noticed during just writing about it was how the word felt reading it on the page, C-A-N-C-E-R. It has that vibration, that negative connotation. So I was inspired to change the spelling. Well, what rhymes with cancer? Answer. So I started spelling it, bless you, with a capital A, answer, with a little bitty c. Some people started calling it C-answer, which made a whole lot of sense, because in prayer, in retrospect now, what questions was I asking? Show me a closer way to God. Show me a way to get even more close with my family. All of those were answered with this journey. So to go through C-answer, my sister started calling it K-answer. Has a little hiccup to it, K-answer. How desperate and destitute and in my pain can I be when I've got K-answer? It just paints a funny picture to it, and it makes it look different on the page and consequently feel different. Well, knowing that I was going to get to embrace modern medicine was a whole nother ballgame, because I had been so adamantly opposed to anything having to do with modern medicine. As a healer and working with spirit, boy, did I have to get over myself. And I recognize that the doctors are of God too. And if I go in there with the attitude of being a blessing and receiving blessings, guess what? That's exactly what I received. So I had a directive written down on a piece of paper for my sister to give to my family members when I was going through surgery. I wanted them to sing me through surgery. And they did. My mom, my dad, my stepmom, my sister, my husband, all 5 of them sang 4 hours worth all through my surgery. It was amazing. And what they noticed was pretty profound for them. They noticed that they could not get into the drama. They couldn't worry about me. They couldn't watch the clock, wondering how the doctors are doing, any of that. But staying with the music not only affected them, but everyone around them in the waiting room. Everything started to change and shift into a much softer, more loving vibration, instead of the anxiety that most people are there waiting with. The other thing I was led to do was to have my surgeons play my CD during the surgery. Not only was I going to be able to hear it the whole time through, but they would also. And they would stay more at ease and at peace with themselves. Well, not only do I know they did that, they all came out singing my songs afterwards, which is kind of cool. Now my surgeon owns every one of my CDs and says that she plays them all the time, especially for her children, which is so wonderful. So that surgery was absolutely successful. The infected ovaries were so large, they had pushed everything around, but everything was in those ovaries. And maybe, perhaps, the work I was doing helped keep that cancer located. Who knows? That was part of the blessing. Total hysterectomy, everything out, everything's fine. Home for 3 days, woke up in the middle of the night not being able to breathe. They had ripped a bowel or weakened it by prying off an infected ovary. I had sepsis, infection, all through me. Emergency surgery at 2 o'clock in the morning after a helicopter ride. Now that was the biggest drama of the whole journey, and that was enough. It was in that helicopter. I was in such pain, no amount of morphine was going to help me not be able to breathe. Nobody knew why at the time, and I was willing. God, if it's my time, I'm okay with it. Just take care of my mommy. Well, when it turned out that I wasn't going to die after all, I had to confess. I told my dad that I had given up. I can't be brave anymore. And he took my hand and said, honey, let us be brave for you. You don't have to do it all by yourself. And that's another layer of surrender to that depth that I had never experienced before. Another gift. Well, when I came to after the second surgery, I had a bag. I had a colostomy. I said, okay, God, what do I do with this? And I heard again, believe it or not, have fun with it. Holy shift. How do you have fun with a colostomy? Well, I named her Lucy. I personalized her. I actually took pictures of her and posted them on Facebook. I asked people's permission first. One person actually wrote back and she said, you know, I don't think I would like to see your butthole, but it might be interesting. He was the first one that wrote back and said, I never knew how fascinating that really was. Thank you. What that did was demystify it for anyone who may possibly go through that. It wasn't that big a deal. It was messy, it was smelly, but I learned to love even her. I got to experience a different layer of that love when my mom and I were in a chemotherapy session one time. I did not know at the time not to eat blueberries. I didn't know at the time to carry extra supplies with me. You just don't know these things. So when Lucy started blowing up and I went to burp her, she exploded. All over my pretty peach dress. Thank God my mother was with me. I was a mess. I was 89 pounds. I was so thin and so bony I couldn't sit on the toilet in the ladies' room that we rushed into. I couldn't stand because I was so weak. And here Lucy was just spewing. And I was hysterical. I was a mess. And my mom said, honey, this shouldn't be so bad. I changed your diapers. I said, but Mom, I'm 50 years old. This is degrading. This is disgusting. I hate this. All at once, my brilliant mother starts singing. Today, while the blossoms still cling to the vine. One of our favorite songs. I start singing harmony with her. We sing all the song all the way through, both verses, both choruses, and at the end of that, Lucy's still producing like crazy, but instantly, that whole situation shifted, and that ugly, nasty scene changed into something so sweet that is now one of my most favoritist stories to tell, because of the way music and my mother's voice changed everything. So my re-inspired mission in life is to remind people how to use their own voice and feel comfortable with their singing voice to sing your own loved ones through crises, because it did change everything. Now, going through chemo was also very interesting. I had 8 weeks of that. And knowing that society and what we know on the internet calls it poison and it may kill you before it cures you and all that stuff, I knew better through my unity practices not to go in with that kind of attitude. But how could I not when that's what we're seeped with, right? Well, in my prayers, I heard from a gal on Facebook, Amy Caney. I want to give her plenty of credit. She's a harpist. She had just gone through breast cancer. And in her chemo sessions, she listened to her music and used her chemo sessions, I call them chemo dreamo sessions. Again, it shifts everything, doesn't it? In my chemo dreamo sessions, listening to music like she did allowed me to receive the medicine as the gift that it was. And she reminded me to thank my cells who are sacrificing themselves for my highest good. And reminded me that the word sacrifice means to be made sacred. So, those cells were being made sacred for my honor. And in those meditations, I got such deep inspirations. I received such wonderful healings and had so many connections I would not have had otherwise that I actually started to look forward to those chemo dreamo sessions. And when I felt the most helpless, even in January this past year when Lucy was returned home, thank you God, she was reversed. 4 times, now 5 with his last one, August. 5 surgeries, 5 different opportunities to be prone in a hospital bed, able to do nothing but love. That was the message I got. What can I do in this place? Love. What does that even look like? Love everybody. Love the orderlies that come in, the people who clean your trash, people who bring your food. Just love them and see what happens. And I laid there helpless, but actively thinking out loud, I love you so much. If you had an idea how much I was loving you right now, you would just float away. And every once in a while they turn and look at me. It was weird, it was as if they could hear and feel that vibration. Within just a few days, people would come into the room and say, my God, it feels good in here. It feels different in this room. What's going on? Honest, it was weird. That love is so tangible. So while we have learned so much from our drama, our trauma, I know that everything's a gift, which is the other side of Holy Shift. And the name of my book, by the way. Holy Shift, everything's a gift. And while we learn so much from our trauma drama, I am now ready to learn from my joy. I'm ready to learn from my love. And I had printed this song off originally to do today, but because I didn't feel it was quite ready yet, I put it aside and was going to bring it out in March. Well, the person who inspired this song came from Inverness, so I have to do it. Vicki has gone through hell and high water herself this last year, and we're both on the healing end of it now, and she's the one that inspired this when she said, I'm learning from my joy now. I've had enough trauma. That's where this song comes from. So we're going to sing it together a cappella, but I need the words. Is there an extra sheet somewhere? Thank you. This is so new. Oh. I'm learning from my joy now. I'm learning from my joy. I'm learning from my joy now. I'm learning from my joy. Do it again with me. I'm learning from my joy now. I'm learning from my joy. I'm learning from my joy now. I'm learning from my joy. I've learned from sorrow, grief and struggle, pain and stress and noise. So I'm learning from my joy now. I'm learning from my joy. I'm learning from my love now. I'm learning from my love. I'm learning from my love now. I'm learning from my love. One more time. I'm learning from my love now. I'm learning from my love. I'm learning from my love now. I'm learning from my love. I've learned from fear and unforgiveness, doubt and not enough. So I'm learning from my love now. I'm learning from my love. I'm learning from my health now. I'm learning from my health. I'm learning from my health now. I'm learning from my health. I've learned from cancer to surrender. All is always well. So I'm learning from my health now. I'm learning from my health. I'm learning from my bliss now. I'm learning from my bliss. I'm learning from my bliss now. I'm learning from my bliss. I've learned from luck and limitations now to love what is. So I'm learning from my bliss now. I'm learning from my bliss. I'm learning from my power now. I'm learning from my power. I'm learning from my power now. So I'm learning from my power now. I'm learning from my power. I'm learning from my faith now. I'm learning from my faith. I'm learning from my faith now. I'm learning from my faith. I've learned that feeling separation doesn't make it so. So I'm learning from my faith now. I'm watching as I grow. Thank you all so much. You have been such a blessing to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you.